One of the dynamics we will learn later in the customer-facing project manager program is budget dynamics. Budget dynamics relate to how a constrained project funds and then consumes its budget. One aspect of budget dynamics that is critically important to all customer-facing project managers is to understand the concept of margin conservation. To understand why we need a different approach to budget management, let's look at the way we typically see budgets pan out on a customer-facing project. Almost all customer-facing projects are trying to meet or beat a specific margin target. Margin is the amount of money we have left after the cost of implementing the project has been subtracted from the revenue we charge the customer. What's interesting about this is that while there is an upper limit to how much positive margin we can make on a project, there is almost no limit to how much money we can lose. That's because we never know exactly when a project will finish, as it requires both parties to agree that the project has achieved its objectives. This makes achieving any target margin difficult, primarily because our approach to budget management is not necessarily aligned with the dynamics of how a customer-facing project consumes its budget. If we understand these dynamics, then maybe we can manage project budgets in a way that help us conserve margin rather than lose it. The dynamic we need to recognize first is that of budget flexibility. Because the project's budget is consumed every day that someone works on it, the amount of money available to spend in the future decreases over time. The amount yet to be spent on a project also provides it with flexibility to adjust to unexpected discoveries. For example, while the budget for building a house is calculated in advance, by calculating what all of the purchased items might cost, we still might encounter a problem early in the construction that requires budget that was unanticipated. We could deal with this by selecting a cheaper stone for the countertops, which frees up budget that we can use to solve this problem. This is called budget flexibility, and while it's an imprecise measurement, it is simply a factor of how much money you have in the budget left to be spent. The more you have left to be spent, the more budget flexibility you have, and as you spend more of that budget, the less budget flexibility you have for dealing with unanticipated problems. On a customer-facing project, when you have lots of hours that are planned to be used, you can be flexible about what they are actually used for. But once you are deep into a project, you have less ability to handle unexpected situations because the hours remaining are already assigned to work that absolutely must get done. Now, unfortunately, there is a second dynamic that occurs as the project progresses through time, and this one works in the opposite way. The potential cost of finding any misalignment increases as the project progresses. In other words, the later we discover any misalignment on a project, the more costly it is likely to be.